And unless I'm a boomer, we should be live right now, and I probably am a boomer. So welcome, everybody. This is the interview that everybody has been waiting for. This is the esteemed Kate Peterzzzz of Masshole Troll Mafia, recently renamed. So, Kate, why don't you inform my audience who has no idea who you are,
none whatsoever,
your social media and what you're all about?
That's a broad question. My social media, you can find me on Masshole Troll Mafia. And I am about bothering people. Apparently, that's what I do, right? That's what it boils down to at this point. That's why we renamed it. We rebranded. I say we because, contrary to popular belief, I do have, people that work with me. I think recently, most publicly, it's been Shiz, but they go in and out all the time. I read in your comments the other day that I guess you were a loyal commenter and contributor for a while. I wasn't aware of that, but
I learned that. I was like, wow, man, like I'm a good friend. I'm loyal. So you have people going in and out. So first question is, what kind of business arrangement do you have on your show? Do you have a company created, or do you have a profit sharing going on? Anything like that?
There's usually not much profit. Like prior to the chili debacle, I would see on AdSense maybe somewhere between $200 to $500 a month. And I am really good at spending on like bullshit subscriptions that I use once. Like I'll get like Trellis and then Unicourt and forget to cancel one or both. And then, it would get eaten up with like dumb bullshit. It's never been like a for-profit operation. There's been a huge influx of cash coming in since the chili debacle. So we're looking at right now anywhere between like $2,000 to $4,000 a month, which is a huge increase. But now that's going towards other things that come with the feud. But I work full time. This has never been like something that I consider to be a career. I'm 35 years old with a meth face. I'm not going to be an internet celebrity anytime soon. It was never really my plan.
So you attribute the success of your channel to Chili de Castro? Am I correct in that?
Yeah, it's sort of the ebb and flow of it. What I do is I kind of troll around the internet. I find people that I find interesting or that I think are there's a power imbalance there. I really don't like what I perceive to be bullying, for lack of a better term, right? Because social media, you can get a mob together and spread a ton of disinformation and just absolutely, bear down on other people or take advantage of them financially. And I just like to even that up a little bit. And I'm a little bit of an agent of chaos too. So I do like the chaos. So it'll ebb and flow. We'll find, people that I kind of go back and forth with that people are not that interested in, or maybe I drag it out too long because I have impulse control problems and I take it, personally sometimes, or sometimes you'll find somebody like Chili that a lot of people have interest in and, it kind of explodes and then, it'll die down until we find the next person that people find interesting too.
Isn't one of the things that Chili's accusing you of, though, is using your server to orchestrate hate mobs against him? Isn't that basically the crux of some of his accusations against you?
I don't really want to discuss too much pending litigation, but at one point, I believe that was, certainly publicly, his complaint about me would be that I disagree. I don't encourage that sort of stuff on Discord. Most of the time, they're fighting with each other.
Do you allow it on your Discord?
I allow anything that doesn't break the rules.
And what specifically are the rules?
All right. Can I reference, because we just changed them?
Sure.
You didn't want me to bring any. You told me no documentation.
I'm not going to show whatever you're referencing.
Right.
So you could be lying or not. People are going to have to take your word for it.
Well, one thing I don't do is lie. I do some bad things. That's not one of them. Now.
Have you ever lied?
Sure. I don't make a habit of it, though.
So you're lying when you say you didn't lie?
I guess so.
All right. Because I haven't seen the pasty stream yet.
Okay, listen. I admitted that out loud. I made that promise under the assumption that it would never reach the actual goal. It was like what I considered to be unattainable at the time. I will never do that again.
So you made a promise in order
that I had no intention of following through with.
In order to get a monetary or other advantage.
No.
You had no subs. You had no intention. I thought it was based on subs.
Right. It was 20,000 subs. It was a running joke that we had because of the cop outfit thing before.
Right. So you made a promise that if you got the 20,000 subs, so you had people out there actively working to get you 20,000 subs to fill their end of the promise.
They were not actively going. No, I don't believe that. No.
You don't believe that. So when I said I needed 4,000 subs to get Chili to sue me, I got a whole bunch of subs. And that was just for them to get the pleasure of having Chili sue me. But you wearing pasties, you don't think, I mean, let's not lie about this. Let's be perfectly honest about this.
Right.
You don't think that incentivized even one person to sub to your channel?
To see me in pasties? No.
All right. We'll let the
thing
audience decide whether or not that's a lie.
That. Like the pleasure of having Chili sue you, that would be entertaining. My 35-year-old floppy
you in
titties
pasties would
not be. I don't think it would be entertaining. I think it would be gross.
We're gonna let the chat decide on that. So
that's fine.
So what are the rules? You were looking up the rules.
Yeah, that's what I was. So do not harass others, brigading, repeating, badgering, or
prolonged. Hold on. What does harass mean? Because I've been told that simply showing up there with a name containing 3 words,
sir,
3 words, none of which
interjecting.
Which were harassing. Is that harassing?
I did not consider. I was
timed out immediately.
Right, and I immediately undid that, and that person is no longer a mod.
Okay.
Right, and what I'm trying to do here is I read the first part of the rule, and then you cut me off. It actually goes into detail. So brigading, repeating, badgering, or prolonged personal attacks based on race, color, religious creed, national origin, ancestry, sex, gender identity, age, and dehumanizing attacks will not be tolerated. So that right there encompasses what we consider harassment. Anything that does not fall within that is not harassment per the rules of our server.
So if I go onto your server, I'm not going to find anything that dehumanizes or harasses Chili DeCastro. Is that what you're telling me?
I would hope not.
That was not a very definite statement.
Well, because I would have to go. I did not go back and delete anything that would not fall in the rules before. I haven't deleted anything because I can't. But before this was put in effect, this was actually put into effect because of you coming on the server, because the rules were so ambiguous at that point. That they were just timing you out and throwing you out without any real clear infractions. And there was no real, so, before we had like maybe 9 rules. They were super, super, super vague. They were just kind of thrown up, honestly, because Discord had changed their TOS. The server has always been pretty big. Like, it hasn't grown a ton since Chili. It's grown a bit, but not a ton. So it's always been kind of big. And the rules were just super vague, thrown up, not really thought about. And so what was happening is we have moderators in there because I don't have time to watch the server 24/7, nor do I want to. Sometimes it annoys me and I don't want to look at it at all, for being honest. So there was a lot of confusion. So because you came in, and I believe that the username that you used was really offensive to some people. And I don't know.
I believe that I could state the username that I used. It was niggardly.
No. I'm talking about the first time.
Oh, the first time?
Right.
Which word did I use in my username that you haven't used on my Discord server?
Right. Well, I don't allow it in mine. Okay. Because it upsets people. I mean, I say mine, but I'm not even the server owner technically, which I'm not diffusing responsibility or anything with that. But I don't really look at it as like, this is my space. I want it my way. I try to leave it as hospitable to the people that are in there as possible. Because that's what it exists for.
Can you explain why Chili keeps being able to produce screenshots from your server about people wanting to get him removed from the internet, or calling LAX on him to get him somehow subject to laws that he shouldn't otherwise be subject to? Right. Why is he always able to find those things on your server if you have all of these wonderful rules against it?
Well, I mean, how is that? Is that brigading? Is it repeating, badgering, or prolonged personal attacks based on race, color, religious creed, national origin, ancestry, sex, gender identity, age, or dehumanizing attacks?
I don't know. I guess not. So
would he count as other users?
So it's fine if we brigade him, just as long as we don't brigade him based on ethnicity, race.
No brigading. Period. Where is that brigading?
Organizing people to call LAX to get him arrested.
I believe that the screenshot was pulled with somebody stating that they had, not asking other people to.
Okay. So I haven't gone through all the screenshots. I haven't gone through it. So I'll accept you at your word that your server is blameless and pure as the driven snow.
Well, I say that?
Never ever
let's
would
not
you
go into
have,
absolutes.
Never would you
I don't
host
live in a space
dehumanizing
where
attack
it's
on Chili.
Absolutes.
You you treat him with the same amount of kid gloves and care as you do any other person on your server, right?
Well, me personally, or the people in there. Is that what we're doing?
Well, it's your server. I mean, I know it's not technically your server, but technicalities are fun. But it's your server. I mean, you are the reason why everyone is there. So it's your server. You have a strong hand in what the rules are and how they play out. Oh, by the way, I want to address just one quick. I have said it before. I am going to treat Kate differently than I treated Turtle Boy and that I treated Lauren. And the reason why is because I didn't know Turtle Boy or Lauren. I didn't like Turtle Boy or Lauren before I met them. I mean, I didn't dislike them either, but I like Kate. I like Kate a lot. I think she's a great person, and I am not going to be accused of softballing her. So,
all lies.
I told you I wanted to have sex with you. That means I like you. Wait, or is that backwards? I forget. I forget which it is. Anyway, yeah. Okay. So, I was going somewhere with this about Chili being treated differently than other people, and it's your server, and so it's your responsibility because you have the power. Like you said, someone timed me out, and you immediately reinstated it. You have the control over what the rules are, or at least substantial control. So it is your server, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's there.
Okay. And Chili doesn't get treated any different than anyone else, correct?
I don't know that that's accurate. I mean, they're definitely you have to prompt people to be like, no, like I've had to go in several times and be like, hey guys, like, why are you trying to get Chili taken off the internet? Why are you talking about this? What would you do with your time? Like, there has to be some reminders in there. But we're dealing with a lot of tribalism, right? And it's tough. And I mean, I definitely get the swing back on the tribalism too from time to time. I just don't give a fuck. But you know, I don't agree with people, you know, anywhere, any being like, oh, we should get Chili taken off the internet. It's hypocritical because people are pissed off when he's doing it to everybody else. And it's nonsense because, you know, people are gathering to discuss this man all the time. I mean, he's a hot topic right now. If you get him taken off the internet, like, then what? What are you going to do with your time?
Masturbate more, probably.
Yeah, maybe that's
we're being honest
masturbate
here,
to
right?
thoughts of how you took them off the internet, maybe. And I know that's harsh, but you know, Discord is going to be a little bit of a touchy subject for me right now because it's been very, very frustrating adjusting to. I don't want to purposely harm most other people. I have to be fair there because I have some impulse control problems, and sometimes I can be a little bit more rugged than I really should be. But for the most part, I don't go into anything like being like, I would like to harm, you know, groups of people for no reason. So I don't want people to be emotionally harmed in my server. I want to have some rules. I want to make it as civil as possible. But the things that upset a lot of the people in my Discord server right now don't upset me and were at one point commonplace. Like, you know, going back to sort of your beef with the Discord server, if you want to call it that. I know you don't take it that personally. I know you don't care, but sort of the controversy with Merb and my Discord anyway, is that you were using words that people took great offense to. And I get that, and I can understand that, and I understand that words can be harmful, and I'm not trying to take away from that. However, prior to the server becoming, I believe it's like 2,800 people in there right now, when it was a bit smaller, we would regularly do things like troll Chan boards and just drop the link and see we could get in there. I really enjoyed having like neo-Nazis and white nationalists and, you know, unrepentant transphobes. I liked having those people in there because I liked winding them up. I thought it was funny. We were having this conversation, me and one of the guys that's been in there a while the other day on voice chat, that like, you know, if you really are opposed to people that have these beliefs and these behaviors, which is, it's their right to have them. It's your right to disagree. I'm not going to get in between that. But, you know, rather than just trying to shut them up, it does a lot more to mock and diminish them, right? So, I mean, if you have somebody who comes in, can I use words on your channel?
I absolutely don't give a shit.
Okay, all right. Okay, so if you have somebody that comes in and says nigger, 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 and I know that's going to get clipped, whatever, but over and over and over again, if you go, oh, that's awful, you're giving them a ton of power right now. They have the power to upset a large group of people, and now you just want to shut them up, and so you just toss them out. That person is going, haha, I upset everybody, and they feel powerful, and they're also going, I'm more marginalized, so I'm speaking the truth, and they don't even let me speak it. If you let them do that and mock them relentlessly for it, then sort of, you know, it's not just how they feel about what they're doing, but people around observe this is a joke. This is not something to be taken seriously. Somebody who believes in white supremacy is funny. It's a clown. It's not something that I should hitch my wagon to. That is how I feel about these things. So it's been very frustrating for me to see as soon as something is said that's out of line, there's no real discourse around it anymore. We just want to shut them up. And it's caused some problems, and we lost a mod that a lot of people liked in there. And I have nothing personal against the guy, but when you came back in with that name, Niggerly Nagger Nancy, I know what you were doing. It was fucking obnoxious. Like, I get that. It was fucking obnoxious. But there were no actual slurs in there. Niggerly means that you are miserly. Nagger means that you are nagging. And Nancy is a female first name. That's it. So for you to be timed out immediately, yeah, I mean, I immediately fixed that. People were not happy. Such is life, right? I'm not here to make everybody happy. I usually am doing the opposite.
So, Irish Demon is now apparently having a flip out right now. You see, Irish Demon. I don't have to give in to peer pressure, so I'm not going to. I'm not monetized. I don't have to chase the money. But anyway, so you think it helps the discourse if you don't actually ban words? Is that
I try to moderate as little as possible, while still understanding that there's a necessary. I tried to make the rules. We don't have 45 rules or anything like that. I think, hold on, let me go. We have 8 rules right now. I think they're pretty fair. It does ban some words. It's just necessary.
Why do you need? Why is it necessary? Because I have one rule on my Discord.
Right.
One rule, and that's no child porn. And if anybody posts child porn, I will send it to the FBI, and then I will delete the post and I'll ban the person. And that's it. Like, that's it. That's the only thing that's banned. So why do you need to ban words?
Well, TOS, number one, because I absolutely will get mass reported for shit like that. The whole server will go down, which means that I lose the server, which I don't want to do. And 2,800 other people will have their accounts in jeopardy because that's what Discord is doing now. And also, that's just the social climate in there. You know, the people that are in there get to determine to some extent like how they want to interact. And I mean, I'm just there to facilitate it.
Well, you dropped hard R's on my server.
I just did.
People,
yeah.
You've seen other people drop hard R's on my server. You've seen that the F word that we could only spell and not say, apparently. You've seen that used on my server. There's one guy in there who used incredibly offensive names. I mean, he still has incredibly offensive names as his screen name. And yet my server is still up, and my server has been up, I believe, since before yours was. So,
yours was the first one you joined, actually. So
I'm wondering why you think that you're going to get your server deleted when, I mean, I think we can assume that more people like you than like me. Would you agree with that?
It depends what field. I'm so sorry. Hold on just a minute. Do you need money?
Oh, yes, I need money.
Okay.
But everybody make sure while she's doing her thing, make sure that you click on the link to my G-String account. I ought to put the link in the description, in fact, because it's important. Let's see if we can go to my G-String account here. And I'm going to post that in the chat. Thank you for your patience while I post this in the chat. Make sure everybody donates to my G-String account. Super important. All right. So I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That's okay. Sorry. My kid was just, and I just lost my train of thought, honestly, because he tried to leave the house without a helmet, on a skateboard. So yeah, no, your server has not been taken down. Yeah. I have been warned, repeatedly that it could happen to mine. I take that seriously, as well as like, people don't like those words in my server. There are people that are very personally affected by those words in my server. They have spoken to me privately and personally about it. I respect that. I don't have to agree with the thought process behind it to just respect it. Is it my server? Yes. But it is populated by 2,800 other people that I don't want to have a bad time.
Okay. So on my server, is it really common for people to drop the hard R?
What, on yours? No.
Is it really common for people to drop the hard F that we can only spell?
I mean, no.
No,
More when we're talking about my server, I guess. I see you guys
no.
pull that up a little more.
I'm just asking because I think on my server, no one really cares if that happens, and so it's not a big deal. So it goes away in the scroll of feed. Why can't that happen on your server? Why do you have to do it? Why do you have to moderate to the lowest common denominator?
I mean, I think that's just the right thing to do.
That doesn't really tell me anything, but we'll move on. How about that?
Right. I know, I do. I honestly think that, like, if a group of people comes together, they get to kind of self-regulate what's acceptable and what's not. And I mean, obviously, it changes a lot. I mean, just like anything else, like the entire. I think that a lot of people at this point are getting the wrong impression about my social media and me as a human being and what I'm doing here. I am not a professional YouTuber. I'm not. I am not somebody who is looking for a lot of fame, glory, or money on the internet. I'm fucking around. It's how I blow off steam. I believe in some of what I do sometimes, and other times I'll tell you I'm just trolling and I mean it. Like, there's just no more there to that. There's no subtext. So I mean, it gets chaotic and maybe a little bit confusing because literally there's different iterations. This started as the Masshole report, which had a very singular focus on First Amendment auditors, and it has changed ever since because my interests change. How I look at things changes to a certain extent. Who I am changes. So it's just as chaotic as I am. So at one point, yeah, I mean, I would say that when we were super permissive and didn't really moderate language that much or anything else like that, yeah, it was less of a problem because it wasn't made a problem and it shortly went away. And I've explained this to people in my server that if you just ignore it, it will go away and it becomes a non-issue. And we're all probably a little bit more educated for it. But that's not how people feel in there right now. So I mean, if and when that changes, then we change it. But I mean, it's my server, but it's really exists so that all these people can communicate with each other, how they want to. Until Merv comes in.
So I think we've kind of exhausted.
Yeah.
We've touched the First Amendment line of questioning pretty well. Let's talk about Turtle Boy. How did you meet Turtle Boy?
So I read his blog. I didn't realize at the time it was actually a woman that was writing for him that separated way before I ever came around. Similar circumstances to why I separated. But I was a fan of her writing and I really got sucked in. And I would comment a lot. And one day out of nowhere, I think I had gotten into an online argument actually with his YouTube co-host at the time. And it was pretty back and forth and nasty, as I like to do online. Cause again, this isn't new for me. I pick fights online. I've been doing it for a long time. And shortly thereafter, Aiden had messaged me on Facebook and said, "Hey, would you like to try out for the blog?" And I was like, what? Like, okay, you're fucking with me again. No, really. I've read your comments. I think you're really funny and I would like to see what you can do. And at the time, I was working for the company that I'm working for now. I have, more or less a career, not the most fulfilling or creative career that, hits on everything that I like to do in my spare time, but it pays my bills and it's fine. And I was in a place that was pretty stable in my life. It was, a few years since like the real instability, but enough that I was feeling decent about it. And I was like, yeah, I'm in a good place right now. I'm a writer. I have been for a long time. I enjoy it. And like, I'll try it out. So I did. And like right off the bat, he was very complimentary of my writing, really wanted to hire me on. I was under the impression that this was going to be a legitimate job, that I was going to produce content. I would be paid $1.50 per 1,000 page views. I was assured that there were, millions of page views coming in every month. I was told that there was, a staff of at least, I believe, 5 or 6 other writers there. It seemed on the outside in my naive at the time viewpoint and uneducated viewpoint to be a really legitimate thing that I thought would be a good opportunity. So I did. And so from there, I began writing for his blog. And we would communicate, mostly blog related. It took on kind of a friendly overtone. There was a lot of sharing back and forth. That is a bad idea. Don't do that. Don't constantly personally disclose with a stranger on the internet that's known for shitting on other people for a living. That's not a good idea, but I did, and he did as well. And I immediately after starting writing, cracks started to appear. I learned very quickly that no, there was not a staff of 5 or 6 other writers. There was one woman who lived in New Hampshire. I'm not going to get into her personal business, but she was not a particularly consistent contributor. There were some issues there with that. So the other writers that I thought existed were actually Aiden, posting on fake accounts. never could really figure out why he was doing that. Sometimes he would say that it was because he wanted to project the image that this was a company and that everything was doing well. And, these people used to be here. They just left. So I still use their names because it's my brand and they belong to me, which was a red flag because I was like, I don't know. If somebody uses a pen name and it's their work and then they decide to separate, like that pen name should probably die with them. That's a little bit weird, but this is how he views other people. You were just my property to my brand. So that was a red flag. And then the payment became an issue because it was substantially less than what he had projected. And it was very inconsistent with him paying, but I got sucked in either way. And, through the mutual self-disclosure back and forth, he disclosed a lot of problems, which I will be fair and believe that he was telling the truth. I don't know, but that, the blog was financially draining him. He was always getting sued. He didn't have any money. He told me I'm unemployable. I can't get a job. So I have to do this and I'm going to lose my house and I have to feed my family. And I would feel bad for that. And so I would continue to kind of plug around and and I was also kind of like intoxicated on the attention too. You know what I mean? You go from being relatively nobody and then all of a sudden you've got this echo chamber that you're a part of and everybody's telling you that you're wonderful all the time. You feel very powerful. And I read, he had sent me at one point, the woman that I liked, she went by South Shore Turtle Girl, phenomenal writer, just a phenomenal woman. She had separated from him with a lot of the complaints that I would later have. And she wrote a very long, almost like Dear John letter to him. But in it, she had said that it was like mainlining speed, that the highs were so high and the lows were so low, being this like self-styled internet anti-hero with Turtle Boy. And then that hit me because it was so accurate. So I got really, really sucked in really fast. And, throughout the 2 years that I was with him, constant red flags popping up. And I would constantly kind of go through a cycle where I would say, yeah, Aiden, like things are really busy for me. I'm having issues with my kids right now because my daughter was starting to be a teenager. And, for us and our family background, that meant a lot more than maybe some other people's teenagers. And then he would call me at like 2 a.m., talking a mile a minute and tell me things like, sometimes I get really sad. I might want to see a doctor. Sometimes I just don't want to be alive anymore. And I would feel bad and go, you know what, never mind. I'll work my stuff out and I'll keep trying to write for you. And then at some point, obviously the YouTube thing happened and that was pretty much the beginning of the end for us. So
that was very, very complex. Did you ever tell him that he was your idol?
Yeah, I believe I did.
Did you ever have sex with him?
No.
Did you ever want to have sex with him?
No.
Did he ever attempt to have sex with you?
He made some inappropriate comments from time to time, but I have nothing overt.
That doesn't really answer my question. I've made inappropriate comments.
Nah, I know you're joking.
Am I?
You are. Shut up. No, I know you are. Yeah, I know that you are. Different. And I mean, at one point, he had taken sort of a clandestine picture of my legs. I've only met him in person, I think, 2 or 3 times, unless you count last night when he shook like a leaf and bitched down like the bitch that he is. But yeah, like maybe 2 or 3 times in person. One time we were at a court hearing that, somebody was dragging him to court for something and he had taken like a clandestine picture of my legs and it wasn't even a flattering picture. I was wearing pantyhose, I think at the time, that literally looked like sausages, just, but he sent it to someone and he said, these are Kate's sexy legs. And I didn't find out about it until like months later when they told, and I was like really creeped out. And then, another time he sent me a text.
That means, wait,
What?
He took a picture of your legs and said, these are Kate's sexy legs, which could be honest or it could be sarcastic, and that means that he wanted to have sex with you?
No, it was inappropriate.
Well, yeah, lots of things are inappropriate.
It was creepy.
The guy takes videos of himself masturbating, so inappropriate is his middle name. But I'm asking you if he like made overt attempts to have intercourse with you.
Well, he's a bitch. So I don't think he's ever really made overt. Well, until recently we've seen, but I mean, overt, no. I think that he probably only goes after females to write for him because there is some sort of ulterior motive. I'm judging that based on offhanded comments that he had made to me that were inappropriate and creepy and not well received. And of course, he's a bitch. So if it's not well received, he's not going to keep going. And I believe this because I have seen him in group messages with other women talking about how, he likes to troll for fans and fuck fans and this and that and everything else. I think that he loves to bring up the fact that I once called him my idol because I think that it feeds into the sense of like power and weird sexual dominance that he likes to have over their other people. And oh, Kate was really, complimentary of me, which like, I said it at the time. I don't remember if I meant it. I honestly don't. I might have been blowing smoke because that's what you do with Aiden. I might have been serious, probably somewhere in the middle, honestly. But I take it back now. I spend most of my time online now trying to consciously not be like Aiden, and I beat myself up when I find myself, giving into my darker impulses and mirroring his behavior. That's just the truth.
But you do mirror his behavior.
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay. Has he ever sued you either for a harassment prevention order or
yes.
for money?
Yeah, for a harassment prevention order. 3 times.
3
2
times?
2 times? I think 2 times.
Final answer?
Yeah, final answer. I think it was twice.
Okay. Twice. Did he ever succeed?
No.
Okay. Did you ever sue him either for a harassment prevention or for monetary damages?
1 harassment prevention order.
So you never sued him for monetary damages?
No.
Did you ever copyright strike him?
Yes.
Did you present a falsified complaint, federal copyright claim complaint?
100% yes.
Okay. Do you know who Marcus, Erico, Emmer, and Brooks is?
Yes.
I'm assuming that in your current line of work, they represent your employer. Am I close? I'm not trying to disclose who your employer is or anything like that, but I'm going to assume that, and your close is close enough. Do you know Gary Daddario?
Why are you asking that?
I ask a lot of the dumb questions. Some of them are pointed.
I know Gary.
Okay. Did Gary ever prepare a complaint for you?
I'm not going to comment on that.
Okay. What were your finances like between, let's say, the middle of 2018 to the middle of 2020? Were you flush? Were you a little shy of money during that time?
No, I'm about the same I am now. I've never been flush, but I support myself and my children pretty comfortably.
Okay. So you weren't having any financial issues during that time?
No.
Okay. No lawsuits, small claims lawsuits about any monies that you owed during that time?
I mean, I honestly don't. I mean, there's probably some out there. I don't really attend to them.
Okay. Did you do any fundraising during that time?
Yes.
Did you do any fundraising for specific purposes or just general, give me money, I'm having a hard time paying?
No, it was specifically for, I was planning to sue Turtle Boy is what happened.
Okay. And how much money approximately did you raise to sue Turtle Boy?
I believe it was around $3,000.
$3,000.
Yeah.
And what happened to that money?
It was actually spent on an attorney for a clerk magistrate's hearing that was brought against me by the Holden police, where Aiden had falsely claimed that I had hacked his devices. So the Holden police declined to file charges, but he badgered them. So they finally kind of rolled over and said, well, we'll turn it over to a clerk magistrate. So I actually only had a handful of donors for that, and this was discussed. I can think of one person who has taken exception to it, who has been offered to just take a refund for years. 4 years. But I can tell you that I'm not going to tell you Aiden would know who the main donor in that was. If you really thought about it, Aiden would know who the main donor in that was. That is someone who did not take any exception to it being rolled over to attorney's fees for something else. And then it was discussed afterwards whether, pursuing another claim would be prudent. But I've gone on and off over that throughout the years. The fact of the matter is the guy is fucking judgment proof. He is. It's fucking judgment proof. I'm learning that with my current situation now. I'm not going to continue to be on the defensive all the time and go, oh, if you lie about me, I'm going to sue you. That's not how I want to handle things today. It was back then. I've learned a lot since then. A lot.
So on this money that you raised for this other particular lawsuit, Did you inform the donors before you changed the destination of the funds of what you were
Yes.
going to do with it?
Yes.
Okay. And it was at that time you said, I'm going to change the destination of these funds for a criminal matter. If you want a refund, you can have a refund. Is that okay? And no one at that time said, I want a refund.
No.
Okay. So it is my understanding that you were going to go and meet someone for dinner last night. Is that a fair and accurate statement?
I did.
You did. Okay, good. Can you talk about what happened last night?
Yeah, I know. I've been seeing Irish Demon. He came in from Boston. He's been hanging out with Shannon and hanging out with me. And so he had this plan, this express mission that he was going to confront Aiden. And so Aiden ended up going out.
Can I interrupt you there? What do you? I don't follow Irish Demon, so I just need to know kind of what you mean by confront, like fisticuffs, or just
No. I know that's what his subscribers were saying. I think it's so silly though when people are like, "Oh, so and so is going to beat up so and so on the internet." It's never going to happen, right? Like that's not. I mean, we're talking about people that are all in their 30s and 40s. Like nobody's getting into a knockdown drag out. Like that's not happening. It's silly to say that. I don't think it's something that people should be like pushing for, because what does that do anyway? Like, subpar content at best.
Okay.
So I don't believe that it was fisticuffs. I believe that what he was going to do was ask him some very, very pointed and loaded questions and kind of play like they were friendly, and try to get as much information out of him about this ongoing stuff, and maybe some, misdeeds that Aiden has been a little squirrely about, talking about, that he was going to try to get that information. So he did. And I was there, as Aiden anticipated I was going to be there. I did watch a little bit of a live stream that he did on the way there. And he specifically said that there was a good possibility that good old Crusty Panties might be there. And that's okay, because he's got a camera too. Yuck, yuck, yuck. So
are you good old Crusty Panties?
I am. I'm good old Crusty Panties.
Okay. Just wanted to be sure.
Yeah.
I didn't know if it was Irish Demon who was going to be Crusty Panties. I mean,
maybe
I don't know.
After this, he might be. I'm sure he'll come up with an equally clever and acerbic nickname, because he really is a brain trust going on over there.
Okay.
Right. But he knew that I was going to be there. Like he did. So that's fine. So I think he was supposed to show up at 6:00. We were sitting downstairs at the hotel bar for about an hour, and it's like 6:30. And we're like, all right, well, he's not showing up. That's fine. Irish was having a drink. We looked at the menu and decided that, Shannon and I would not be ordering from that menu. We would just go somewhere else. And as we're getting ready to leave, and he's, kind of, slowly finishing up his drink, we turn around. Aiden's there, right? Okay, cool. So Aiden is immediately like, oh, very friendly with Irish. And he turns around, he sees me, and is kind of stops dead in his tracks. And he goes, oh, look who's here. And I was like, Aiden, where are your kids tonight? Where's your wife? Right? And he just wouldn't say anything, put his head down, and Demon was like, all right, you're going to have your chance. So now Shannon's sitting here. I'm sitting here. Irish Demon goes around in between me and Aiden's sitting over here. And it's, Shannon looks at me, and she looked nervous. I thought she was nervous. And she goes, oh, do you want to go outside and have a cigarette? And I'm like, no, I'm fine. And then there's like a good 3 minutes of just nobody's speaking. It's just dead silent. It was very awkward. So I'm like, all right, yeah. like we'll go outside and have a cigarette. So we go outside and have a cigarette. And it was cold. So I said, well, let's go sit in your car. And we realize as we're trying to turn on her car that she has run out of gas. So I'm like, no big deal. Let's get in my car and I'll take you to the gas station, get a gas can. We'll fill up your tank and then go back inside. So in the interim, we learned that the friend of Aiden's who has an order on me, the protected party, has arrived, which I thought was a little weird if I'm going to be there. And, you're supposed to be in fear of me, and Aiden knew was always going to be there. Like, why show up? But okay, so she shows up. So I'm like, all right, well, I can't. Now I can't go back. So that's fine. So we make sure that we are in an excess of 100 yards away in a parking lot. And we're just kind of waiting and waiting and waiting. And apparently during this time, Irish pulled out quite a bit of information. And of course, had his phone out and recorded the whole thing. So that's what happened last night. I was not a part of any of that. We just waited till they had left. And then, he called us, swing back around, and we went out to dinner with him and another subscriber of ours. And that was the end of that. But it's been kind of controversial today. Apparently Interpol is getting involved.
Ooh, Interpol.
That's what I've been told.
They might team up with the Washington National Guard.
Mm-hmm.
Who is also big into enforcing laws in the United States.
Yep.
So,
that's what...
stupid question. You're the restrained party, so wouldn't the protected party be able to go wherever the hell she wanted, whenever the
Oh
hell
yeah,
she
absolutely.
wanted?
Then by law, that's why I didn't go back there. Right?
And so you're not suggesting that the protected party did anything wrong, correct?
No.
Okay. And she could accompany Aiden if she wants to. I mean,
Right. No,
she's
by law.
almost a full grown woman, and Aiden is an adult consenting man. Why does it seem to bother you so much that Aiden is? I mean, I'm assuming Aiden's married because everybody's telling me that he's cheating on his wife, and
Constantly.
I'm just wondering why you care.
Because
Are you married to him? Are you his wife?
God no. God.
Okay.
No.
Are you
Right.
related to his wife?
No.
Are you friends with his wife?
It has literally nothing to do with anyone but Aiden directly. And
So
I
why
will tell
do you
why.
care?
Because he is someone who is constantly using his platform to shit on other people's messy life decisions and families, myself included. But I can think back to I think a 6-year feud he's had going on now with this guy named Michael Gaffney. Same sort of situation.
We're going off on a tangent.
No, we're not. I'll tell
care.
you why. Because of the hypocrisy behind it.
So your solution to his hypocrisy is to do a little of your own and be like, oh, you're getting into other people's messy business, so I'm going to get into your messy business.
Exactly.
That's the way
that is 100%. And I'm not going
Okay.
to say that like that is mature or ethical or anything else, but it's honest. That is legitimately it. It is that fucking mirror that I prefer to hold up. You want to get into other people's messy business, like let's look at yours.
So you get into his messy business, so you don't have any issue at all with him getting into yours because turnabout's fair play, right?
Well, now it has to be. Now it has to be. I did not feel that previous.
Why
previously, well, because I've now made that decision. Previously, when I did not do that, right, then it was a little bit unbalanced, right? I would just let him go, and he obsesses over my children, particularly my teenage daughter. I've had to sit and watch the reaction to that. It's not pleasant. It's when it's your children, to put it lightly. And I, at some point, made the turnabout decision that I was going to retaliate in kind, and now I have no business complaining anymore. Right?
Did it work?
What?
Did your plan work? I mean, has it stopped him from making content about you?
No.
Has it stopped him from talking about your kids?
Well, nothing was going to do that. Nothing was going to do that.
What if he agreed to not make any further content about you except for the results of the criminal proceedings that have been instituted against you, and in exchange all he wants you to do is stop talking about him? What about that?
Okay, so let's do fair turnabout then. So he wants to cover the criminal proceedings that have been instituted against me. Would it be productive for me to turn around and then start covering the criminal proceedings that are about to be instituted against him?
Well, see, there haven't been criminal proceedings.
Well, he started covering before they were proceeded against me. So there's that.
Well, but there wasn't an agreement then. I'm trying to figure out if we can come to an agreement. And honestly, if you want to be like petty about it, like we don't have to have an agreement. There's no reason to have an agreement if you're not going to abide by it and he's not going to abide by it. That's just a waste of everybody's time. But if you're willing to do it, like if you think this is not productive, if me talking about him and his extramarital affairs and him talking about what happened with my kids 8 years ago or more, if that's not going to be productive, or I mean, nobody wants to see it.
Right. No,
you
it's
that, right?
It's not my preferred content at this point. Like, I do genuinely, I mean, it gets boring. Do I like to see him get wound up sometimes? Like, I know right now he's probably hitting caps lock in your chat. I haven't looked yet. I'll go back and look later. But like, does that amuse me, honestly? Yeah. Like, but it's not something that I have an overwhelming desire to make a ton of content anymore because it's boring. Obviously, Chili DeCastro has been much more interesting and fun and where I like to keep my focus. I mean, the problem with me making these, it harkens back to sort of like the pasties thing. I'm not huge on making agreements that I don't think I can abide by.
Okay.
And so take that as you will at face value. But I mean, if something else were to pop up and I would be like, oh yeah, no, Aiden's gonna I can milk him for some more amusement, in a week, in a month, in a year. Yeah, I'd probably do it. It's just honest. Like, it's just
all right. Well, I have asked him. I've extended an olive branch to him. He accepted. I've extended it to you, and you've not. So there's no agreement. So we can just move on from there. Let's talk about another bitch. What do you think about blue bacon?
I knew you were going to do it, and I was hoping for this.
So on the date that he did his apology video, how did you react to that?
I was I did not find it to be acceptable at all. And you actually are cutting me off because I think I had even mentioned I was going to do an in defense of Merb video. And I just want to make this clear for people because like Merb and I like the guy. I don't like everything that he does.
She wants to have sex with me.
Yes, yeah,
Yes!
you caught me. You caught me. No, I mean, I have a respect, and I said this kind of before, like right, we didn't really talk much before we came on because Merb is a consummate professional, and didn't sully it at all. But one thing that I did say is that I appreciate Merb because there is a certain amount of self-reflection that you risk losing as you sort of create a presence online, right? So like I'll look in my chat and I'll have like literally thousands of people sometimes be like, Kate, you're awesome, blah, blah, which is not always accurate. Merb has absolutely no issue calling me on my bullshit and holding my feet to the fire, which is very necessary for my own personal growth. And also like, again, do I want to be a shitbag online? Not what I aspire to. Does it happen sometimes? Yes, this is YouTube, it's content, right? But it's not really where I'm like, it's not where I want to go. So I prefer to keep people that are sort of oppositional to me in my ear when I can, to, kind of be like, you're being really hypocritical right now. Or, oh yeah, no, that's not what you want to do, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. And I have to reflect and go, shit. So I like Merb. And that's, that being said, this whole situation, Merb versus Blue Bacon, reminds me a lot of the Virgo triad debacle, right? And I remember how outraged people were with me when I was like, she's raised almost $100,000 that we can see for a house fire that doesn't seem to be very realistic. And we're going to look into it and we're going to pull records. And immediately it was like World War III. And it came out afterwards that I'll ask you, Merb, because I don't want to critique my own work too hard on this. But would you say that more likely than not that fundraiser was not on the up and up? What's your opinion?
Virgo triad? Oh, yeah. She was a straight scammer.
Right. But there was a lot of outrage with that. And one of the things that kind of piqued sort of, again, these red flags, which since Turtle Boy, I've learned to pay more attention to and, trust my own instincts. Some of the red flags that she was throwing up were the aversion to any sort of scrutiny and really trying to take the narrative and make it her own and discredit the people that were asking questions. There's nothing scary about questions. I mean, I understand that there'll be Turtle Boy and people in the chat right now like, oh, Kate's getting owned because I'm being asked pointed questions, but they're necessary. And if you are an honest person with honest intentions, you don't shy away from them, right? And you don't try to change your answer to make it, oh, I'm going to pussyfoot around that. When I'm asked something directly, I'll answer directly. That's just, the truth doesn't change. That didn't happen with Virgo. I don't see that entirely happening with Blue Bacon right now. And I think that the controversy and what really is upsetting people right now is the fact that Platoon Hard Drive is pulling his public records.
He is pulled.
He has pulled them. Okay. All right. I am behind. But that's something that should be welcomed. Scrutiny is welcomed. You are willingly, you, me, we all are willingly putting ourselves up on the internet in front of a gallery of strangers, right? Like to expect that you're never going to be subject to any scrutiny is, quite frankly, unrealistic. It's ridiculous. And honest people don't shy away from that. They welcome that. I think that Blue Bacon made a terrible decision when he was doxxed in the way that he reacted to it. I was very harsh with him. I wasn't harsh with him because I didn't like the guy or anything like that. I was harsh with him because he was making a very poor decision and doing it in my Discord server where I know that it's being screenshotted all the time. And I was trying to help him stop the bleeding. I was not nice about it. I'm usually not nice about it when I give harsh advice, but I've done this a billion times. How many times have you seen me doxxed? I've been doxxed a ton.
Can you dox someone who's had their address out on public filings forever? Is that possible?
Well, I mean, it wasn't forever, but when it started, I believe at one point there was even a map to my children's school. I know actually there was a map to my children's school that was put out online on a blockchain to try to make it difficult for me to get it taken down. But that's neither here nor there. The point is that I know a thing or two about being doxxed. And I know that if you panic and lie and, draw a lot of attention to the fact that this is concerning me, that you're pretty much, writing a map with specific instructions on how to fuck with you, which you shouldn't do because it's like blood in the water. Like Chile is one of many bad actors, as they would be called, who, are going to get the attention of this and go, oh, this is effective. So that's not a good idea. Secondly, is at some point that lie is going to fall apart and you're going to have to answer to it. And I even told him at one point, like, look, you're not fooling Chili. The only people that you're fooling are your own supporters and subscribers. Stop it. And he didn't. And I want to be fair and understand that it can be a very jarring experience when you think that your identity is safe and suddenly it's not, and it's out there and you don't know what to do and you weren't expecting it. I would also temper that with the fact that I feel like he probably should have expected it, because he was literally challenging Chili to find him. So that's when he does, I wouldn't be that shocked. But yeah, I in his apology video, I found again to be just kind of lacking. Stop, like just stop. I was with it when he was like, look, I wanted to buy myself a few days. Okay. I mean, you could have done that by not saying anything, but we'll look at this in light most favorable. And you panicked. All right. You wanted to buy a few days. You didn't do it in the way I would do it, but don't take my advice on everything. I fucked up just as much as I've successfully completed things in life anyway. So that's fine. But then he goes into this whole narrative about how he's being rehoused by the National Guard until this blows over, and that all these authorities have been involved, and that the military police are coming after Chili. And, Sunday night, he's saying, Chili, come find me, I'll fight you, or something to that effect. I'm not saying it verbatim, but, no cameras, just you and me. And Monday morning, he's running off to get a restraining order. I don't agree. I don't.
So you're saying that he doesn't moisten your crusty panties?
Does he moisten yours? I'm naked.
A little bit, yeah. I mean,
he's
a good-looking boy.
Right.
I'm kind of an otter guy myself, so he kind of works for me. I'd split them cheeks.
I mean, at first, I felt like his reaction was just bad for him, and and then it kind of spiraled to, all right, now it seems like you're really going overboard with the dramatics. And now it's like just basic scrutiny he's pushing back to. If I were him, I would just put out my own records is what I would do. I don't have any doubt that he served, just to be fair. I think that anyone who is claiming that he didn't serve is an idiot. I think it's abundantly clear that he served. The details of that, I don't know. Honestly, I don't even know that I care, but other people do. So here you go.
I believe it's been confirmed that he not only has served, but he was an MP.
There you go.
I believe the lies come from the stories that he tells about his service. So I know I've been accused quite a bit of.
Can you prove that?
Pardon me?
Can you prove that?
Can I? No, because that's not my bag, baby. Other vets have done that. You can watch PhDs rather extensive and rambling. I wouldn't have put it together the way PhD did, but I watched it this morning. It's 4 hours of him, a guy who was an Air Force military police, whatever they call him, and another vet who broke down, in between telling stories about their service, they broke down some of the stories that Blue Bacon told and hyped up as his awesome experience, and they just poked all the holes in it. So I have no reason to doubt them. They all seem to be very long-term service members. They have the right credentials. They have the right lingo. So I have no reason to doubt them. I do have reason to doubt Blue Bacon because of the way he presents himself. He presents himself as a liar. He's constantly shifting and trying to hide things. So what do you think is more important than your credibility on the internet?
More important than your credibility on the internet?
What more than your credibility is important on the internet?
I was going to say, you can think of a lot of things in life that are more important than your credibility on the internet. I can't think of anything, but my priorities are not going to be everybody's priorities. I care most about my credibility because I really try to be as authentic as possible, right? Like the good, the bad, and in between. Like just, I don't feel like at my advanced age, misrepresenting myself or hiding things is really going to be that beneficial to me or anyone else around me. And quite frankly, some of the shittier things about me kind of shocks and upsets people. And I love that. Right? I do. I enjoy seeing all different types of reactions online. So I mean, but that's just me. Somebody else might think that their income on the internet is more important, or that I don't know what else would that being liked is more important, not upsetting people. I think that it's a pretty subjective question, but I can't think of anything more important.
It is entirely subjective,
Yeah.
and that's why I was asking you your opinion. If there's anything more important.
Not to me, no. Not
Okay.
to me.
And then a final line of questioning, because we're running up on about an hour, and I want to keep it about an hour. That way we're fair to the other people. I know I've been a lot harder on you than I was on them, but again, it's because I like you. So the last question is, the last line of questioning, I should say, is how much have you raised for your current legal defense?
Can I look it up?
Absolutely.
Okay, sorry. I know, I
You
believe
can
that
estimate
it is.
too.
I've been keeping a tally, and I actually have a spreadsheet, but I'll go straight to Stripe here so that I can, because I only count it as it actually, hold on, as it actually gets paid out. Sorry, bear with me.
Take your time.
All right, so as of today, it is $52,648.68.
$52,000 dues. And how much of that has been paid to your attorney?
$60,000.
Okay. Have you ever manipulated a receipt from a law firm to suggest that you paid or received services more than you have?
No.
What assurances do the donors have that the money that they're sending you is in fact going to be spent on your defense in the case that they have donated for the purpose of?
Well, so I scroll through this stuff live periodically. I've shared I've only gotten one invoice so far, so I shared that. I don't even know if I should have, right? But I did, just for transparency's sake, and I will continue to do that, as well as I pay through a program called, or a service, I should say, called Melio. And so I'm able to keep track of payments that way. And I've also scrolled through that, absent of any statements that I get in. So that's, how we're handling that. I'll share it in Discord a little bit more than YouTube. I don't love doing that because it's a double-edged sword there, as I'm sure you can surmise, but it's necessary because it's crowdfunded. But,
So you've spent about $30,000 on attorney's fees, which leaves about $20,000 still in your pocket, correct?
Well, I just continue to send the money over to the attorney is what I'm doing.
So as you get it, you send it to the attorney. You don't. So the attorney knows exactly how much to bill you. I'm just asking.
Listen, I don't know. I'm not him.
Okay.
I don't want to get too much into anything that has to do with my current representation and that relationship, but
so let's talk about past representation. Have you did you have that same practice with previous attorneys and law firms where if you were crowdfunded, let's say, I think you said it was around $3,000 to sue Turtle Boy, did you pay that whole $3,000 to a law firm to represent you in that?
Yes.
And then you got a refund, correct?
What?
You raised, I believe previously, correct me if I'm wrong, I asked you about raising money previously to sue Turtle Boy.
Right.
And you said you raised approximately $3,000. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Did you take that $3,000 and place the whole $3,000 in an attorney's trust for him to represent you on that lawsuit?
A little bit over it originally. And then what ended up happening was, I got a refund, but it was a little bit wonky in between because there was some question about, adding more. I really don't want to get into all that, but I did have documentation of that as well as the attorney that I took after the fact. I had documentation.
Did you share those receipts
On Discord with donors? It was a really small thing. It wasn't a public fundraiser. I didn't do it to the public level that I'm doing with Chili now, but
I thought you did a fundraiser. Define the difference between what you did before.
It was a PayPal pool that was just passed around, I believe, Discord. That's all. when the Discord server was really small. It wasn't something that I was like going up on YouTube and being like, I need to raise this money. We didn't do that.
But you still raised approximately $3,000.
Right.
And how much of your own money did you put in approximately?
I believe it was around 2,500.
Okay. And then
Well, there's food in there.
Then you must have fed him, sweetie. Sorry.
no worries, kids.
Yeah.
So then you spent some of that on the representation, and you got the rest refunded, and
Yeah.
that all went in for the
Yeah.
criminal defense. Okay. So did you have any closing thoughts or statements that you want to make to round out this hour-long interview?
No. Oh, could I take any questions that people might have? Would that be appropriate, or?
It doesn't matter to me. Do you want me to find some and read them, or
Yeah, please.
or do you want to? Oh boy! All right, let's scroll up to the. Actually, no. Why doesn't everybody at this point, if you want to ask a question, why don't you go ahead? Okay, we got one. Kate, you admitted to forging. Hold on a second. It jumped. Kate, you admitted to forging a federal court document against Turtle Boy with YouTube copyright. How can anyone trust you not to forge other documents?
Well, because I admitted it, like right off the bat. I had intentions of filing it, is what I believe. If we want to get into specifics, because I know I just pointedly answered that yes, but I had gotten. So Turtle Boy had taken a video of mine that was from my new channel, had nothing to do with his. Ripped it, played it without no editing, no transformation whatsoever. It was extremely offensive to me at the time. I was highly emotional still because it was right in the midst of this terrible dissolution of this business relationship, if you want to call it that. So emotions were high anyway. And so he rips the entire video down, and I copyright struck it. Would I do that today now? No, because I have a lot thicker skin, but I didn't back then. So I copyright struck it. And it was a legitimate copyright strike. There was nothing transformative about it, right? I wasn't, I can't say that I was doing it, completely devoid of emotion, but it was my video and you fucking stole it. That's what happened. And so he issues a counterclaim. And the counterclaim, I'm not saying this verbatim, but pretty much was, Kate Peter was under my employ until at least 30 days ago. Therefore, anything that she produces now also belongs to me. And I was like, fuck you. Fuck you. Like, you don't get to own me. I'm a human being. Like, I am no longer with your shitty blog. Your YouTube channel can die out on its own now that I don't have my fucking hands on it anymore. I'm doing my own thing. You don't own me. So I went and I looked for a copyright complaint that had already been filed before because they didn't know how to do it. And I'm like, fuck that. I'm talking to the guys that I was working with. I'm going to e-file this. I don't care what it fucking costs. And so I go ahead and I use it sort of as a template. And I didn't even change the fucking number. I didn't even know to, honestly. It was there. And I submitted it to fucking YouTube, and then promptly was like, yeah, I don't know how to e-file. Fuck it. I already did it. That's just the truth. Was it a shitty thing to do? 100%. Have I done anything like that since? No. I was fucking pissed off. Like, fuck you. Say you own me. It's a good way to trigger me. Say that you fucking own me. So, I mean, you can trust that I won't do that again because I readily admit to it. Like, when I fuck up, I have absolutely no problem being like, yes, I did that. That's why I did that. Decide whether I was justified or not. Sometimes I'll admit I wasn't justified. I fucking did it anyway, and I move on. I have no reason to lie about these things. Yes, Christiana can come over, sweetie.
So,
Oh, sorry. You guys clean up after your trash because I'm seeing a lot of stuff. Okay, thank you.
So I just want to clarify. So you pulled this complaint off the internet, and it had a case number in it in the case number slot.
Right.
You didn't type that case number in there.
No, I didn't type
it in
number
there. Spot.
I didn't
type it in there.
I didn't. I literally so what I did was I pretty much took the whole thing and then I just entered the name. I wonder if I don't even know if I still have it, but I used it as a template is essentially what I did. And I didn't type in the case number. I didn't type anything other than deleting their facts and putting in my own. It was sloppy. It was dumb.
The reason why I ask is because generally speaking, when you fill out a complaint, you don't put anything in the case number spot.
Right.
So I don't see why that particular law firm that drafted that particular complaint
No.
anything in the complaint.
No. It was something that had already been filed.
I know.
Yeah.
I know, Kate. I pulled it.
Yeah.
I pulled it. I pulled not only what you had, but I pulled the original.
Right.
So I know what both look like.
Right.
And in the original that was filed, this is a point of question, and I apologize for this. I still like you. In the original that was filed, it said case number and then it was blank.
No, I don't
Now,
believe that.
now you could get the case number by going to the top of the document where a pacer puts the case number in there. But you have to ask yourself, Kate, you've been in a lawsuit now. You've seen the pacer filings. On the initial complaint that Chili files, there is no case number in the case number spot because you don't have it when you're doing the initial filing.
I will pull it again, but I did not. I can honestly say, right hand to God, did not like personally type that in. I pulled something that already had a case number in it and just didn't delete it.
Oh, it had a case number in it. Yeah.
Right.
It just didn't have a case number in the case number spot.
To my recollection, it did. Maybe I'm remembering incorrectly. I don't think that I am though, but this was 4 years ago. But no, I honestly used it. I had the intention of filing it, right? So, I mean, I certainly would not have had a case number in there at all that I would have put in.
Okay. Well, we don't do documents on this stream, so I'm not going to show you what I have unless you show me what you have.
I like off air. I will go back and actually, because that is something that I am fairly confident I'm answering. I'm answering, accurately, but I don't know entirely. So I will pull what I have. I'm sure that I have it somewhere because I keep voluminous files of all this shit forever. I just don't delete anything. So
did you want to have any more questions asked?
Yeah. Whatever.
So Nasty Nathaniel wants to know if you'll have a drink with him.
Yeah, anytime.
Anytime.
I tell him that all the time. Yeah, margaritas he wants.
I know he's very demanding. He's needy. He's like a puppy that keeps poking at you whenever you stop petting him. Let's see if we have any other questions in here. I'm just going to go down the bottom. Ask further questions if you have it. What's it like? No, that's not a question for. Am I flirting with Kate? Absolutely, I'm flirting with Kate.
No, he's not.
You don't speak for me.
I do. I speak for the whole internet. Haven't you heard?
No one's really asking questions, so I think now's a good time to stop. I appreciate you coming by. Her marriage situation. Okay, are you married?
Yes.
Okay. Do you cohabitate with your husband?
I do.
Okay. And any follow up on that? I don't know why that's a. Is he okay? Is he okay with me flirting with you?
Yeah. No,
okay.
He's been in there.
All right. So I think did you conspire? Hold on a second. Did you conspire with? I like these. Did you conspire with Irish Demon to secretly record Turtle Boy last night?
Did I conspire? I drove him there. Is it secret if it's in public and the recording device is visible the whole time? I don't even want to pull the law on that.
I don't know. And I think that's good. All right. So thank you for coming in. I appreciate everybody for coming in. Do you beat your kids? That's stupid. Oh, so do you understand the difference between neglect and abuse?
I do, very intimately.
Okay. Do you believe that there is a different definition in the Massachusetts Code for neglect and abuse?
I know that there is.
How do you know?
How do I know? Because I was involved with the system. Okay.
Way to dodge the questions. I don't see. Type it in again, squiggly thingy guy. So do you think it is somehow excusable to have been neglectful of your children, but not abusive?
I think that it is an unnecessary spin to put on the situation, because as I know you polled yourself, right? Abuse is non-accidental. It implies, it doesn't even just apply, it requires a certain level of willful behavior that was just not involved in my situation with my children over 8 years ago.
So it wasn't willful on your part. It was just you had other things going on.
I was tremendously mentally ill with absolutely no treatment whatsoever. I could not take care of myself, let alone take care of my children at the time. That's just, and I'm not excusing that. I have to live with that. Nobody else does, but I never intentionally harmed them.
I'm going to ask a very personal question. You can just tell me to fuck right off if you want to. What was your diagnosis?
Post-traumatic stress disorder and depression.
Okay. The next question is from Squiggly Lines. Were you invited to the Irish Turtle meeting?
Yes.
Who invited you?
Irish.
Okay. So I think that answers it. And all right. So now that's really the end of it. Again, thank you guys for watching. I think we've done enough damage for today. Have a great night.